Today's story is called Blister the Lamb by Ethel Barrett. Once upon a time, in a faraway country, lived a little lamb who got into considerable difficulty because he was so stubborn. In the beginning, he was so little and his legs so wobbly that he didn't even know enough to be stubborn. He was too busy trying to make all those legs behave. "Let's see now," he'd say. "Right hind foot, now left hind foot, now left front foot, now right hind, whoops!" All of his legs would spread straight out, and he'd have to gather them back and start all over again. But as soon as he got all his legs working together, he began to get stubborn and independent. Now, the only way to learn anything when you're a lamb is to listen to your elders. But this little lamb didn't want to learn anything. The first word he ever spoke was when his elders tried to teach him. "Eat your clover right down to the roots, stem and all," they said. "Then you'll be sure to get all your chlorophyll and vitamins." And he said, "Bah!" When it came to give him his name, his elders talked it over. "If ignorance is bliss, then he is a little blister," they said. They called him Blister, and the name stuck. With a name like that, it's surprising that he learned anything at all. From the minute Blister got all four legs working, he wanted to go off into the world and seek his fortune. "Adventure," he said. "Excitement, that's what I want." Little did Blister know, but that's what he was going to get. It all began that morning when Blister was practicing his stem Christie. That was for going downhill on the rocky ground. And he saw his owner talking with his workers and looking the sheep over. "What do they want?" he asked his Auntie Mitten. "We are going to the market," she told him. "We are going to be sold." "Sold?" asked Blister. But the answer was drowned in the loud barkings of the sheepdogs as they rounded up Blister and all his elders. And before you could say what's going on, they were off to market. The marketplace was teeming with excitement. All kinds of people, all kinds of animals, all kinds of smells, and all kinds of noises. There were lambs and sheep and donkeys and crates of pigeons and chickens. Blister tried to find out as much as he could. "How can you stand so well on just 2 feet?" he asked a chicken, whereupon she preened herself and stood on 1 foot. "I can stand better on 1 foot," she bragged, "than you can on 4. And Blister said, "Bah," which wasn't very polite. But before he could take a breath and say it again, his Auntie Mitten nudged him. "Blister," she said, "we have been bought. We have been bought by that man over there. He is our shepherd." "What?" cried Blister. "You mean I can't go out in the world and seek my fortune? Adventure and excitement is what I want." "Why, you foolish lamb, you'll get into all kinds of trouble." "Trouble? Bah and humbug! I can take care of myself. I'll just tell them I'm not included in the deal. I won't be owned. I won't. But by this time, the shepherd had moved in closer, and Blister looked up into the kindest eyes he had ever seen. "I'd better get away now before I begin to like him. Then it'll be too late." And he started to sneak away. But the shepherd reached out with his staff and hooked Blister and gave him a gentle pull. "This way," the shepherd said. "Out the gate. We're going home." "Yes, sir," said Blister. But to himself he said, "Bah." They walked all morning, and Blister had to admit it was lovely. There were fields of clover and blue skies above and little streams of cool water. And the shepherd was kind. His voice was gentle, and he didn't treat Blister as if he was a bad little lamb at all. He seemed to love him. They walked and walked. And then at last, Blister's new home. It was a huge stone wall built in a square. "What do you call it?" Blister whispered to his elders. "It's a sheepfold," they told him. "Do we sleep in there?" Blister wanted to know. "Where's the door?" "There's no door." The shepherd smiled, his white teeth flashing. How wonderful he looked when he smiled. And then, as if he could read Blister's mind, he said, "I am the door. I sleep here in the entrance, and no enemy may enter without first passing me." And he showed his big, strong arms. They were full of scars from many battles with wolves and lions. "I would die fighting for you," the shepherd said. Blister was impressed, but not quite sold. He still wanted adventure, but he was polite enough not to say, "Bah." The day went by, and the sun went out, and the stars came out. And the sheep went into the fold, the shepherd watching each one, all but Blister. Blister slipped into the shadows. And while the other sheep were still going into the fold, he started back down the hill. "Free at last! Whee! Hooray! Yahoo! Ooh! 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 What was that? Ooh! 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 Blister's ears went right up to points. Oh, it was a hoot owl, only a hoot owl. Whew! What a relief. "Wowee!" he whispered. He was shivering now. "Hooray! Yahoo! Oh, oh, oh!" What was that? Was that a wolf? It was. Blister ran and ran and ran until, oh no! Oh, ouch! He lost his footing and fell over a rocky ledge. Then he caught his foot in a crevice and stopped. Ugh! He couldn't get loose. His foot was caught. "Oh!" he grunted, and "Hop!" he puffed, but it was no use. He was stuck. And then, lightning, thunder, rain! Blister had never been in such a storm. He scrounched down as far as he could. The rain beat down on him. The wind howled around him and lashed at his ears. The lightning struck all around him, and the thunder scared him out of his wits. "I'm miserable," he cried. "I don't want any more excitement. I want to be rescued. Help!" But there was nobody to hear. "Help!" Blister cried again. "Please help me, somebody. I'm caught. Help! Auntie Mitten, Uncle Wooly." And then, who was that? "Blister, where are you?" It was faint and far away. Did he really hear his name? There it was again. "Blister, where are you?" It was his name. Then he heard the scuffling of feet. The shepherd was right up there on the path. "Shepherd!" cried Blister. "Master!" Blister could only whimper now. He was so frightened and tired. The shepherd leaned down and stretched out his staff, and then he stepped down with a bit and took hold of Blister's foot. He began to loosen it from between the rocks. Gently, ever so gently, careful, careful. It was loose, and then the shepherd swung Blister up into his strong arms and put him inside his cloak and walked on through the storm. Inside the cloak, it was warm and safe, and Blister could feel the shepherd's heart beating. When they got back to the sheepfold, the storm had died down. The shepherd put Blister down and gave him a gentle nudge through the doorway. Then he rolled up his cloak for a pillow and settled down for the night. And Blister knew that no harm could come to him. The shepherd was the door, and he knew that he was safe at last. Do you know that the Lord Jesus is like a shepherd to you? He is. He said so himself. I am the good shepherd, he said, and I know my sheep, and they know me. Thanks for reading with me. I hope you enjoyed the story.